book off my bookshelf is County Folklore, Leicestershire and Rutland, collected and edited by Charles James Bilson, issued by the Folklore Society. Now this is a book of extracts and it's printed, and it's number 3, and it's printed in 1895, but it refers to a lot of texts that are a lot earlier, which I will endeavour to find those books somewhere. But for now, get yourself a cuppa, sit back and enjoy today's episode. Today's episode is Animal Superstitions. Bees. Bees, telling the bees in Rutland. An instance of carrying out the well-known superstition concerning bees occurred recently at a hamlet named Geeston, in the parish of Keaton, Rutland, after the death of an old beekeeper. His widow knocked at several beehives and said, "He's gone, he's gone." The bees hummed in reply, by which it is understood that they will remain. A death in the family should always be officially notified to bees, who will resent the slight cast upon them as members of the household by the non-performance of the ceremony, by forsaking the hive or dying. I have endeavoured in vain to ascertain the formula, if any appropriate to the occasion. The melancholy intelligence, however, is certainly sometimes, and I believe always, conveyed in a whisper. A piece of crape must always be put on hives when there is a death in the family, or the bees will not thrive. Also, any great piece of news concerning the family must be told them. To tang bees is to make rough music with a bell, warming pan, shovel, or some such instrument when a hive swarming, for the double purpose, it is said, of asserting a claim to the ownership of the swarm and of collecting the bees together. The Wren and Robin. Jenny and Jenny Wren. The wren, particular bird, Wren and Robin. Jenny and Jenny Wren. It is thought sacrilegious to kill a robin or a wren, and even to take their eggs is a profanity certain to bring ill luck, because the robin and the Jenny Wren are God Almighty's cock and hen. It is considered very unlucky if a robin enters a house. He must be prevented from crossing the threshold. Magpie. On seeing a magpie, it is customary to make the sign of the cross on the ground with the foot. Crows. It is unlucky for one crow to fly across your path, for a native of Woodhouse Eaves. The rhyme is 1 for sorrow, 2 for mirth, 3 for a wedding, 4 for a birth. If a cock comes near to the window or door or crows, a visitor will presently arrive at the house. The green woodpecker is called the rain bird. Merry thought of a fowl is called the wishing bone. It is pulled for luck. The breastbone of a fowl. 2 single people place the thumbs of their right hands on either side of the flat part of the projects from the arch of the bone and break the bone. One then takes the 2 pieces and partially conceals them in her hand, and the other draws. Whichever has the shorter bone will be the first to marry. A belief of the 7 whistlers and the ill luck attendant on their being heard is universal, but what the 7 whistlers may be I never could learn, though I have made pertinacious inquiry. More than once I have been told that the devillin, the common swift, is one of them, but I couldn't elicit no further information. I have, however, 1,000 times in a summer heard the noise which is said to be made by the 7 whistlers. It is simply the well-known scream, as a wight of Selborne calls it, of the swift, which is loudest and most frequent in thundery weather, and is often heard when the birds themselves are out of sight. The belief of the 7 whistlers seems to be as common on the continent as England, and is apparently universal in the Spanish peninsula. But the accepted explanation of the peculiar whistle there heard is said to proceed from a flight of wild ducks. The Leicestershire colliers also believe that the cry of the 7 whistlers, golden plovers, warn them of some calamity, and on hearing it refused to descend into the pit the next day. It is almost universally believed by the colliers that when any person will shortly be killed at the pit, strange mysterious sounds are heard in the air at night, sometimes like the distant singing of a flock of birds, or at other times resembling the smothered wailings of children chanting a funeral dirge. These they take to be warnings of the coming calamity, and frequently when certain explainable sounds have been heard at night, some of the men could not be persuaded to go to work on the following day. Their method of accounting for the strange story is that 7 colliers were once intoxicated on a Sunday, and towards night they proposed a whistle from a wager to pay for some more drink, when, fearful to relate, they were all carried up into the clouds by a whirlwind, from which they have never been able to descend. But at the return of darkness their fearful employment is to fly from place to place, when fatal accidents are impending, to warn in premonitory strains of dismal melody their survivors to avoid their own terrific and never dying destiny as the 7 whistlers. It seems more than probable that the 7 whistlers had a more ancient origin than in the days of our puritanical fathers, when the view concerning the Sabbath suggested in the account first became general. It is more likely that the superstition arose in ancient heathen times, along with the Teutonic tribes settled in ancient Germany, from whom the inhabitants of Worcestershire, descended from a thoroughly Saxon ancestry, may have received the story. On Friday the 16th, a collier was making holiday in the town, and was asked by a tradesman in the marketplace why he was not at his usual work. The reply he made was that none of the men had gone to work that day because they had heard the 7 whistlers, which he had said the birds sent by Providence to warn them of impending danger, and that when they heard the signal not a man would go in the pit until the following day. Upon the tradesman suggesting that the collier's account might all be traced as superstition, the poor collier was offended to find his story called in question, and assured the tradesman that the warning was always to be depended upon, for on the 2 occasions previous to last Friday, when the 7 whistlers were heard, some colliers foolishly descended the pit, and 2 lives were lost on each occasion. Leicester Chronicle, 1855. Eggs unlucky. There are many farmers' wives in the present day who would never dream of allowing eggs to be brought into the house or taken out of it after dark, this being deemed extremely unlucky. Cuthbert Bede mentions the case of a farmer's wife in Rutland who received a setting of duck's eggs from a neighbour at 9 o'clock at night. I cannot imagine how she could have been so foolish, said the good woman, much distressed, and her visitor upon inquiry was told that duck eggs brought into a house after sunset would never be hatched. Hat bat, the bloody bat, the largest bat's English specimen. Village children sing when they see a bat. Hat, bat, come under my hat, and I'll give you a piece of bacon. Cats suck the breath of children, so kill them. If the first lamb you see in the spring faces you, you will have good luck for the remainder of the year. If you turn your money in the pocket when you see the first lamb of the season, you will have money in your purse for the rest of the year. Pigs. It is unlucky to kill a pig in the wane of the moon. It is done, the pork will shrink when boiling. Devil's coach horse. The unproposing insect is considered a harbinger of ill luck. Sheep. I have heard that a bone taken from a sheep's skull being kept in the pocket to keep away disease, but I do not know the name of the bone or the disease. Horses. White horses. To meet a white horse without spitting at it, spitting averts all evil consequences, is considered very unlucky in the Midlands counties. Adders. Adder skin. I'll bring you good luck to hang on either skin, only on the chimbley. For vipers and serpents, see tree and plant superstitions. Dog. The howling of a dog at night under the window of a sick room is looked upon as a warning of death's being near. For spiders, mice, snails, cows, see superstitions. This concludes this section. Thank you very much for listening. Please like, share and subscribe, and I shall see you again next time.